Welcome to this benchmark video. We're recording at our conference here in Washington, D.C. Today I'm joined by Ken Biberaj. How are you doing, Ken?
I'm doing great, good to see you.
Yeah, and you're wearing different or several professional hats. I'm told you've got a podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. Can you tell a bit more about it?
Of course. Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Love Giga USA, always fun to be here. I don't know why you don't invite me to Giga Marrakesh, but maybe next time.
We should.
You know, I do great in Morocco. It'd be amazing. But yes, so we do have a podcast. It's called Coffee with Ken, coffeewithken.com. Started during the pandemic, and it was really intended to be a thought leadership series at the nexus of business and politics. And really, a summit like this is really a perfect convening. Because when you think about what's happening at Giga USA, it is really that nexus, especially in the United States, of industry stepping up with support, especially from the United States federal government, on how do you accelerate the capacity and ability for critical minerals and industry to get expedited for national security, commercial purposes, and so on. So we've spent 6 years now having coffee with Ken. It is not my full-time job. I do have a day job, but it's been a passion. So.
And your day job is at Savills,
yes.
So there is a real estate angle. Is that? I mean, you talked about the connection here with Giga US. Can you perhaps elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah. So at Savills, a global commercial real estate company headquartered out of the UK, what I specifically do with my team based here in Washington, D.C., is site selection for advanced manufacturing, defense, and critical mineral companies. So when you think about the reality of siting a project, where will you do refining, sourcing, manufacturing? The United States is a large country. We have 50 states. The geography is wide opening. Battery companies are building in Nevada and South Carolina. We help companies figure out where in the U.S. they should build.
Okay.
We help them compete states against each other for economic incentives. We help them analyze supply chain, labor analytics, and then we help them structure the eventual real estate deal. So all of this is incredibly complex. In the U.S., there's incredible competition between states because everyone wants to have the jobs and the capital investment, and we help companies navigate that process.
Okay. That's fascinating, yeah. And in terms of, I mean, this administration has pushed a lot of the reshoring and onshoring agenda. There is reindustrialization as well. I think one of the taglines that you used before is US cannot reindustrialize without real estate, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's exciting right now in the United States is it really is a bipartisan issue. So if you go back to COVID with Project Warp Speed with President Trump, realizing the supply chain constraints and challenges in the United States, we need to reshore more. President Biden came in and it was Inflation Reduction Act, CHIPS Act, infrastructure bill. Yeah. And now President Trump's back and pushing hard. Factories need to come back. Reindustrialization has been used as a term on page 13 of the United States National Security Strategy. Yeah. This is something that is now becoming a priority for the U.S. government. So for folks like us, we are here to help advise companies on how to navigate all of these priorities. Because actually building and setting up factories is a complex, geopolitical, competitive, challenging process. And real estate is something that inherently always has risks. Risks around environmental issues, community issues, pushback, power availability and access, cost, supply chain. So we're here to kind of help de-risk that process for companies.
Yeah, because now you've outlined those bottlenecks, right? I mean, you've got land, power, with AI. I mean, AI is a demand driver. We've seen data centers being built here in the United States. There is the permitting angle as well. I mean, in the mining, critical mineral space, I mean, people always tend to refer to permitting as one of the big bottlenecks. What is the biggest bottleneck according to you in terms of what is the biggest bottleneck for the US to industrialize and to
Yeah, it's funny because like reindustrialization as a top line sounds great. Trillions of dollars of incentives sounds amazing, but the rubber hitting the road and actually building factories is a very difficult, time-consuming, long lead project. It'll take 3 to 5 years to build a factory. So when we do searches, it's usually around people, power, place. Talent is a gating issue. Yeah. Does your community have the headcount and skill to actually build? We have outsourced manufacturing for 40 years. It's actually not the easiest thing in the world to get the skills and the talent to build a factory, number one. Number two, the voracious expansion of data centers is an incredibly challenging factor, especially now. It was a challenge 12 months ago. Today, it's even a bigger challenge, not only from data centers taking the best sites, taking all the power, but causing this friction and tension from communities and pushback around mega projects, and communities now being worried not only about data centers, but about any project coming to their community.
And you say picking the best size, that because of the companies behind it, they have the biggest pockets, deepest pockets as well?
Listen, a lot of companies here are well balanced, have good balance sheets, but a lot of them are early stage companies, novel technologies in the graphite space, magnet space. They're getting support from the federal government. They have to persuade states to kind of get incentives and support. If you are a Google, a Meta, an OpenAI, you have a limitless balance sheet.
Yeah.
You can come and you can buy sites, cash up front. You can work with utilities, front load whatever is needed, and you don't even need incentives, and you're not creating jobs. So that competitive landscape is a roll up your sleeves, battle out in America that is happening in live time. And communities that have not seen investment like that, it's very hard for them to say no to projects like the data centers.
And translating this to politics, I mean, we've seen data centers, expansion, growth now coming into the political sphere. There's a lot of local opposition in the United States. It's growing. How do you see this further evolving, also towards, in view of the midterm elections?
Yeah, I think the overarching challenge in America is we lack an industrial policy. We have domestic policy and foreign policy. Because we haven't had to manufacture in 40 years, we really don't inherently have an industrial policy. In the US, because we've outsourced and globalization, at the federal level, we've kind of pushed away that responsibility. At the local level, zoning and land use is pushed to the smallest, most local level in America. So think about this. If you're looking to get a project approved, it is a local community zoning board that probably isn't elected, they're appointed, there's no real accountability, but they're the ones who are going to decide if a project moves forward. So even a governor, if they want to have an affordable housing program, they can't actually implement a zoning strategy around that. They have to go to localities. So there's a disconnect around how to create policies around land use in America.
Okay.
So number one, I think in 2028 and beyond, every local to federal elected official or candidate should have a responsibility to articulate a vision around industrial policy. Okay. Where should data centers go? How should we be working with utilities? Where should advanced manufacturing projects go? Those are different things.
For a more centralized approach then,
either centralized or organized with community engagement to say, in our state, we would prefer data centers to go here. Yeah. We would prefer that data centers go behind the meter and have power generation that's not on the grid, so that the grid is reserved for manufacturing and for the public. So these dynamics are playing out in real time, but they're moving so fast. Policies and strategies are not in place to meet that demand, and everything's going too quickly.
Yeah. And then perhaps the final question, I think you partly already answered that, but we've been talking about this administration's reindustrialization agenda, onshoring, reshoring. You've already kind of given assessment of this, but what would you change?
Look, I think the administration is being thoughtful. They're engaging. I've been reached out to by the administration to share thoughts on permitting. I've given feedback around the opportunity to leverage federal land. The president has already shared ideas and opportunities around federal sites to be used for data centers. I think this is a whole of society opportunity. This is a generational moment. If we are truly going to bring manufacturing back to the United States, it requires not only federal engagement, but state and local, because these are physical sites, right? We are no longer operating in an environment where the newest technologies are social media apps that are just going to exist in the cloud. These are physical sites that will need humans to work with them with automation, but they will be physical buildings. They will require water, power, wastewater, supply chain, roads, infrastructure. So these are all real things. So it's going to require better coordination. In my opinion, the states and localities have had a hard time keeping up with the movement in America. And so what I mean by that is the innovation happening in California and beyond, whether it's battery or novel technology, and the federal policies happening, that education isn't reaching the states and localities in an appropriate and fast enough manner. Okay. So there's just a disconnect.
Okay, thanks. And thanks for this discussion. And also thanks for your practical and on-the-ground view on these things.
Listen, I love coming to conferences like this. It's amazing. It's a refreshing year. I was here last year. The mood wasn't as upbeat as it is this year. I think we were a couple weeks after Liberation Day last year, so it wasn't as exciting. So these are important projects, but there is a reality of the rubber hitting the road. Critical mineral projects, take 5 to 10 years. A factory takes 3 to 5 years. So these things require speed and certainty, and they take time. So aligning collectively is important.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing your insights.
Thanks for having me.